Welcome to Quick Sidebar, where we talk about anything and everything and get distracted often. I am Bradley, here with
Jake
and
Dan.
And today we have a special guest.
Bethany.
Yay! This is the first time we've ever done that.
You got one more than everyone else.
Authentic.
That's a personal touch.
Yeah, it wasn't a sound effect this time.
Yeah.
It was a sound effect, but it was
with our mouths.
It was a practical sound effect.
It was Foley.
Was
So
it supposed
anyway.
to say practical? I don't
Well, yeah,
Foley.
because you normally talk about practical.
Practical.
No, that.
Okay.
All right.
What you wanted?
I don't want to start something new.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You
What are we talking about
pointed.
today? Sorry.
Today, the music's still playing.
It is.
Today.
Is that going to be a new thing now? The music just
Oh,
plays
jeez,
the whole
Curtis,
time?
I'm sorry. Today,
Curtis,
we're going to be talking about the new Star Wars movies. Are they benefiting the franchise?
Dun dun.
So that is excluding the non-trilogies. It's just
That is
it's just
excluding
the trilogic.
Solo and Rogue One.
Correct. Okay.
We're not talking about those.
Wait,
We're saving those for a
Yeah,
different time.
we're not talking about Rogue One.
Yes.
We're talking about
the new
We're talking
trilogy.
about
Force Awakens
and The Last Jedi.
Okay.
and
The
Nine.
The
upcoming
as
movie.
yet unnamed ninth movie.
The untitled ninth film in
Yes.
the triple trilogy.
The triple trilogy, the 9-film sequence.
No, no.
Yes.
Yes.
9 films.
All right. So, Bethany, why don't you start us off?
All right. Well, I am of the opinion that the new movies actually super help the franchise.
Okay.
The original trilogy came out over 40 years ago, and it stands as this iconic pop culture reference that everybody knows, everybody grew up with, and so it has a huge place in people's hearts and minds for that reason. But I think that in a lot of ways it was outdated. And it was still beloved despite being outdated, but I think that having these new movies brings it into the 21st century, which is a phrase that I generally hate, but is literally useful in this instance. And so I think that it was really useful in bringing in different kinds of characters and telling more complex storylines. We all know that, like, the first movie, A New Hope, follows, like, the hero's journey plotline, which is sort of the plotline that everybody knows by heart,
Right.
It's like a
whether
chili.
they realize it or not.
Keegan said that
That's
once.
right,
He
that's
said
what
the New
Keegan
Hope
said.
is a New
Sorry.
Hope is like a chili. Continue, Bethany.
Okay. And so I think that with the new movies, they've introduced more complex storylines, and they still generally follow, the hero's journey. Like The Force Awakens follows really closely, beat for beat, A New Hope, but there are also a lot of really interesting, intricacies that it's introducing into the plot and the characters in order to push the story in new and different directions. And then I think that's just continued and, like, enhanced on in The Last Jedi, which takes everything that was set up and goes completely way past what The Empire Strikes Back does, and brings in new and interesting characters and pushes the story in different directions. And so I think that, we've been seeing the hero's journey, we've been seeing A New Hope for the last 40 years. And so I think that the new trilogy is bringing Star Wars and what we loved about it, which was that it was pushing barriers and just pushing those barriers in different directions for a modern audience.
That was very well said.
Thank you.
Wow, that's the most professional said thing on this whole podcast.
I say we just call it there. Finish
all
on
right.
a good note.
Guys, like and subscribe on Instagram.
Okay, may I ask a challenging question?
Yes, I
Yes,
love
you
Jar Jar
may.
Binks. Already answered.
That's a different trilogy.
I'm
We'll get
sorry,
there
is
another
Jar Jar
time.
Binks in the... Yeah.
Yeah, idiot. Is
too
yeah,
bad.
it's too bad. It's too bad.
Unless Jar
Definitely.
Jar Binks is Snoke.
Which now doesn't matter because Snoke is dead.
Right, I mean,
Spoilers!
Dude, it's been
Oh.
out for over a year. If you have not,
we gotta
Not
put
quite a
a
year.
big spoiler alert warning on this episode.
spoiler alert.
That's what we'll call this episode. That's the title.
Spoiler alert! That's it.
Some 1930s car is driving around. Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert!
Challenging question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit me.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's not actually a challenging question, or I have a challenging question later. But a point that I would like to say to people that think that that Force Awakens is just a remake of A New Hope. I think going off of what Dan has said in previous episodes about how George Lucas took the hero's journey almost bit for bit and just threw his character names and his places and the plots that he created into the hero's journey structure, I think that A Force Awakens almost is more similar to A Hero's Journey than A New Hope. It's hard to not look like and feel like A New Hope when it created the expectation for every hero's journey film that has to do with something with sci-fi.
Right, because you could just as easily say that The Force Awakens is the same as The Fellowship of the Ring.
Sure.
Because it's the same plot structure. It's the same as Harry Potter. It's the same as all of these, like, heroic journeys. It's the same as the, the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Sure.
And, those kinds of, like, archetypal stories that we've been telling for millennia. It's the same.
Right.
It's just, it's easier to draw those comparisons to A New Hope because they're in the same franchise, but I don't think it's copying A New Hope. It's just borrowing those similar...
It's using something that was successful to create a new thing.
Exactly.
Good artist.
Well, and J.J. Abrams even
Great
said
artist steal.
when
sorry.
It's okay.
Force Awakens came out, he said it's supposed to rhyme with A New Hope. Like they wrote it to look at New Hope and kind of reflect back in a different way, but it's supposed to be similar. It's just, they knew that when they made it.
Right.
Right. Well,
So,
one thing that I've always said, like when people, because there's been so much criticism against the new trilogy, but when people try to bring it against me, one thing that I like to say about the first movie is that it's significant and I think a good thing that The Force Awakens is similar to A New Hope in its story structure, that they didn't go a different direction. Because bringing in this new trilogy 40 years later for a host of audiences who've grown up loving Star Wars, know the original movies, know the original characters, it's going to be really hard to make people like the new trilogy when it feels so unfamiliar.
Sure.
So borrowing that same structure introduces an element of familiarity to these new characters and things, so it helps bridge that gap between the old audiences while also bringing in the female main character, the person of color main character, and these more complex, like a morally gray bad guy even. It makes some of those new changes easier to swallow because it's following something familiar, so it's easier for people to adjust.
Yeah.
Wow, she's so well spoken. I had nothing to pick apart about your argument.
Here, I'll say something stupid and then
there we go. Speak so I can rip on them. I can rip on them.
Okay, here's my challenging question.
Ooh.
So a lot of criticism towards The Last Jedi has been that in the original trilogy, they built the character of Luke Skywalker very specifically. One that faced a moral gray area in Empire Strikes Back, where he had thoughts about being evil and thoughts about killing Darth Vader, didn't know what those were. So there is that gray between the light and the dark, the good and the Sith and everything. But do you think that they made a mistake in throwing in this gray area later in Luke's life, following his becoming a Jedi Master, he's had years to continue to build on the character that he's already been created from the original trilogy. Do you think they made a mistake by, in The Last Jedi, introducing this moral gray area?
No.
Why not?
Because, so for starters, like I said, it's been 40 years, so there's a whole lot of character growth that has to happen in 40 years. So you're not going to, meet someone when they're 19 and then meet them again when they're almost 60 or however old he's supposed to be and be like, wow, you're exactly the same person, and your experiences and the things that you've seen and, witnessed have not changed you at all. I think that's, I don't want to use the word naive, but I think that it's unrealistic. But additionally, I think that if you look back at the original trilogy, you have, like you were saying, some of that gray area with him, considering going with his father and that kind of thing. But you also have, he was there in Dagobah with Yoda, and he was like, screw this, and then he left, which shows, this level of impulsiveness and this, draw that he has to be, in the right, because he thought, no, I have to save my friends because that's the right thing to do now. And so I think that that same kind of mentality and that same kind of character trait of the impulsiveness and the needing to fix the wrong right now actually lends itself extremely well to him being in this instance where he's my pupil is going towards the dark side and I don't know what to do, so I'm gonna try to kill him. Spoilers. That's the same kind of impulsiveness and I need to do something now without thinking about the consequences that we saw in the original trilogy. But then the fact that he didn't do it goes back to he didn't kill Vader. He didn't, do those kinds of things in the original trilogy. So it's the same kind of struggles that he's been having. It was just kind of more amplified, I think.
Wow. Any arguments against that?
No. Nothing to say.
Dan's like, no, I don't.
There's a stone wall.
So
what can
frustrating.
I say?
So sorry.
The crack. See, the biggest complaint I heard about Luke was that he was like this goofy, kind of like a joke of a character. Because if you kind of watch it, he kind of has the whole movie. He has like this, I don't really give a shit attitude. Like, I'm just kind of here. And I don't really care what goes on. Like, he's drinking, like, Keegan loves to bring up the monster titty milk or whatever. Like, okay.
Where else is it supposed to come from? Let's just
Get
call
over
it
it.
monster milk.
Keegan,
Okay.
if you even listening, you bastard, he's not listening. He's too old. We're not coming over the radio or not on vinyl. He can't listen to us.
I love that Keegan will never hear that.
Yeah, he'll never hear that. Unless Sierra shows it to him. So thanks, Sierra. Let him hear at least this bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Pull this out of our 30-second clip.
There you go. This is our 30-second clip for Keegan.
Yeah.
But if you look at like what Star Wars does, they don't recycle storyline, but you see the same similar characters come again because it's following one giant hero's journey. Luke he's the new Yoda. Because how is Yoda acting when Luke finds Yoda? He's a little bonkers. He's crazy. He's out there.
Yeah.
One, he's alone.
He's been living alone for 40
by himself
years,
with the weird little
20 years, something
book
like that.
ladies and shit.
And he's been living alone, thinking that he created the destroyer of all worlds. Like he's it's not like he's been in like he's been
on vacation.
Right. Like he's just kicking his feet back. No, he's kicking himself, thinking that he just killed the human race. He just destroyed the Jedi.
So he's no wonder he's a little cuckoo. He's a little weird because he's been alone forever and he's by himself. And so he's like Yoda because Yoda, if you look back at his, and they were gonna make a Yoda backstory movie, but after the Han Solo one, I don't know if they will now, which is disappointing because I love Yoda. But he's just the new Yoda. So it's just like the thing about Star Wars fans, and I hate Star Wars fans for the most part because they're the most toxic group of people ever. How can you be such a fan of something and spend all your time shitting on it?
Yeah.
All they do is bitch about the movies, and it's like, okay, you can get nitpicky and bitch about the storyline and this and that, or just watch them for what they are. Good entertainment.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
That was originally why it was made. I don't think George Lucas was trying to make any statement with the original Star Wars.
No, there aren't really any political statements. I mean, you could argue that Leia was kind of like a breakout character as far as female roles go. And Carrie Fisher certainly took on that kind of whole essence of being this role model. She still is. Like, there's all those memes of like Leia, like a woman's place is in the Resistance and those kinds of things. So I think that, that kind of made a statement, especially in the 70s. But that a lot of it was a good story, well told. And it also was groundbreaking because it had, a kick-ass female character, and because of the technology, which at the time was, groundbreaking. Now it's laughable, but
well, it allowed people to think outside the box. It allowed people to say, don't stick within the bounds of Earth and humans. Go above and beyond.
People had been telling sci-fi stories for years. Like George Méliès made, the trip to the moon years before, but like this was like so large scale in a way that Méliès films just could never be. And so I think that it started this whole trend of like we have all kinds of sci-fi movies in the 80s following after Star Wars. Like, Blade Runner and, all those kinds of movies directly draw from Star Wars as an influence. And so it like completely changed the film industry.
Oh, for sure.
So I totally understand like people being attached to the original trilogy. I myself am, even though sometimes the acting is bad and sometimes the dialogue's not great. There are a couple of great moments, but it's not perfect.
Well,
And what bothers me is that people are unwilling to accept that, like, they take the original trilogy as, like, some religious text that cannot be altered or improved upon in any way, but it's not a religious text, it's art. And part of what made it great was that it was pushing boundaries. And so to say that the new trilogy has to do exactly the same things that the original trilogy did is completely... It defeats the purpose, because the original trilogy was great because it broke ground. And the new trilogy is great because it's doing interesting things. This is the first time in like a huge, tentpole kind of franchise that we've had a morally gray character like Kylo Ren, who you want to root for, but you're like, but he kind of sucks, but he's also really great, and I feel sorry for him, and I see myself in him, and I hate him, and I love him. And you have all of these conflicting emotions, and we don't have that many characters like that. Even the Joker, who I think is the second closest loved, villain from a tentpole in recent history, is still like morally reprehensible. Like, you're not going, man, I kind of want the Joker to win. Like,
right.
I really see myself in him. Like, you don't say that.
You might say that.
They say
might
from the
say
inside
that,
of a...
but
I mean, not out loud.
right,
At least I don't.
right.
Oh my god.
Not that I would.
Right.
like-
I mean,
I would never do that.
No, obviously. But it is a new kind of story, and new kinds of characters.
Yeah.
And so I think that just to criticize the new trilogy for doing new things, it completely misses what Star Wars is and always has been.
You know what's such bullshit, too? Is people criticize Force Awakens for being too similar to A New Hope, and then they criticize The Last Jedi from branching away from Star Wars and trying to do too many new
Yeah,
things.
that's what I'm saying. Star Wars fans,
Yeah.
you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. No matter what they could do with these movies, they could objectively make a great film. And subjectively could be line up well, and people would hate it. Now, what? Oh, Bradley looks like he's about to just drop a truth bomb on us. He is
Just
so
raised
excited.
his finger.
Well, we've been talking a lot
Strap in,
about how
folks.
great the new trilogy is and how we all appreciate it. And I'm not going to say that I don't, and I have...
No, play some Devil's A.
yeah,
Play some Devil's
yeah.
A.
And
That
this
stands
is
for
this is
advocate.
absolutely an unpopular opinion that I probably should have shared in our unpopular opinions episode. But I am not a fan of either of the main characters in the new trilogy. Rey and Finn, I hate them both.
Oh,
Oh wow!
that is... I really don't
wasn't-
like that.
I wasn't ready for that.
I'm holding it in.
Yeah, I'm a little upset.
Here's my thing. I didn't mind Rey, couldn't get into Rey in The Force Awakens, but I really liked Finn in The Force Awakens.
Really?
And then in The Last Jedi, it flipped for me, and I really liked Rey, and I was less psyched about Finn.
I will say I'm not sure that I hate Rey. Rey is fine. I like Rey okay. But
I
Finn
really liked Rey because of The Last Jedi.
Finn is just like the epitome of like camp and cheesy hero of like, isn't everything just great and I'm gonna save the day, and I hate him.
Well,
every time he's on screen I'm just like, shut up.
Well,
Go
okay,
away.
okay. Well, so
that's-
I disagree with you
Oh
wholeheartedly.
yes,
I'm sure
I-
you do.
Yeah.
Fucking loved Finn in Force Awakens. Partly because I had never seen John Boyega before, and I just absolutely fell in love with him. I think he is so genuine in his delivery and his portrayal of these characters, specifically Finn, but also like I've seen him in other stuff too, and he's fantastic. I mean, he's just so talented.
He might be really talented. I'm not gonna.
Okay,
I just hate his character.
but see,
I have nothing against John Boyega.
And I'm
I have
also-
everything against his character.
well, and that's part of my
I can't
bias.
even look at you. I'm so mad.
My bias towards both Finn and Rey are I had the biggest crush on Daisy Ridley when that movie came out. I just think everything about her in that movie and in those movies, she is so fucking talented. I mean, I love her story. I love that like the only shit she'd done before Star Wars were student films. Like she's like what you aim for. Like that's to be able to be the woman leading this march towards strong female roles in these action movies. I mean, oh my gosh.
You want to be a woman leading?
I
them
do.
to this
I
car?
do. It's not going to happen, but a boy can dream.
Okay.
No,
I just wanted to be clear.
but so I so disagree with you on Finn. I loved him, but I also there were a lot of things I disliked about Finn's role in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
wasted character.
It was completely
That was
wasted.
Finn's
Well,
character's
but-
fault. That was just bad writing.
No, and
Well,
exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect writing, but we do know, we have been told by Rian Johnson, who wrote and directed The Last Jedi, that whole storyline with him and
Rose.
I could only think of Kelly Marie Tran. him and Rose is leading to something. It's setting things up.
I don't
it's
like that
building towards something.
At all.
It was incomplete is my biggest thing. And then I also really hate the line that's like, I want to crush this whole city with my fist or something like that. The writing of that line and the delivery of that line just
that?
like makes my skin crawl. Rose.
The whole side story where they're like freeing the weird horse animals. That's the worst part about the movie. Cut that shit out and it's still a whole movie.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to pay off eventually.
Yeah, but
it's setting up the little boy at the end. Spoiler
Yes.
alert.
Right.
Here's the thing though.
It is.
Because the way that I understood how these movies were going to be directed, it was Abrams got Force Awakens. Johnson.
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson was supposed to do the one he did. And then it was supposed to be Joss Whedon. From what I understood originally, it was supposed to, the guy did Avengers, and he got in trouble for tweets.
He's in trouble for a lot of things right now.
Not
He
anything.
is?
Yeah,
Him.
he said things and done things as we're finding out a lot of celebrities haven't done. So he is off the project. But whatever Ryan Johnson, I keep forgetting his
Ryan
name.
Johnson.
I keep
Ryan with
forgetting.
an I.
Yes.
R-I-A-N.
Yeah,
Ryan.
like
Ryan?
No,
But
Hey,
without the
you hear that, Brian, with a
Ryan.
Y? Sorry, I'm just shouting
Suck
out
it,
Brian.
dude.
It's my friend Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Shout out. He didn't. I don't know. He wrote such like a I love Last Jedi or the Last Jedi, but I think it was just
A Last
a
Jedi.
Last Jedi. Hey, I love a Last Jedi. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't make sense.
I love a Last Jedi. I think it. I don't know. It was missing pieces. It was like they got to 75% of a movie and were like, oh shit, we're out of time. Let's just put it out. So I think now they're getting it back to Abrams. I think he's just going to basically reattach what he wants to do anyway and kind of erase over what Ryan Johnson was setting up.
I don't think he will because the way that all of the stories have been written has been with the full supervision of Ryan Johnson and all of Disney and all of those people. So Ryan Johnson wasn't he was allowed to write the story he wanted to write, but he had to get it signed off by Abrams. Abrams would not have signed off on a script where he was like, this is going to take the story in a direction I don't want it to go.
That's fair.
He would have changed it because a lot of people were pissed that like Ryan Johnson made Rey's parents nobodies.
I don't think that's real. How can you believe
I
that?
love that, but I will get back to that in a minute.
I think that has to stick.
No, that
It
won't
has
stick.
to
What is
stick.
it? What is it?
It won't stick.
What is it again?
That's
Should.
not
That
how
her
Star Wars.
parents
You think
aren't
how cheesy
anybody
Star Wars has been
significant.
up until
Okay,
now?
that's
Why
right.
would
They
it
were just,
change now?
junk traders or whatever.
The original
But
trilogy was cheesy.
because a lot of
better
people
writing.
were saying that Abrams was going to write over that because people were pissed that she was a normal person, which
He is
again,
gonna. I guarantee he'll write
frustrates
over it.
me.
Isn't that so much better?
But
I know.
but then
I agree.
Thanks, Jude.
but it doesn't make sense that they would undo what Ryan Johnson had done.
Well,
It's not
but
like
they're
they're
not
just
necessarily
like
undoing it
make
because-
a movie whatever you want and then going, oh crap, we didn't want that to happen.
Well,
Let's
but
fix it.
he set it up in a way that it can go either way. Because Kylo Ren can't be trusted. You can't trust what he's saying. Come on, he's bad. You can't. You trust Kylo Ren?
I don't trust
don't.
him. I think he's incredibly manipulative.
He's manipulative. He's a piece of shit. So
He
can
is
tell.
manipulative.
So why
That's
would he
true.
not tell Rey you're from nothing to make her think she's?
He knows Rey is so powerful.
Here's the thing. The thing about Star Wars from the very beginning has always had one thing that strings them all together, and it's the Skywalkers. The Skywalkers have been in every movie.
Yeah,
and-
but why do they have to still be in every movie?
'Cause they're going
gonna
to be.
keep making trilogies
Because that's
forever.
what Star Wars is
Then
about,
whose
the
kid is
Skywalker
it?
family. That's why they're making spin-off. It'll be Han and Leia, and they don't talk about it. It'll be Luke's daughter, and they find out. There's no way.
Rey and Kylo are related,
Oh,
for
yeah.
starters.
There is. Are you kidding? Oh my god. This is baloney, Bethany.
No.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No
There's
way.
no way that Kylo Ren is telling the fucking truth.
If
Yes.
Kylo Ren knew
He
that
has
he
to.
was
If he
her
isn't,
sister,
then it's so
he would
dumb.
not.
All the Star Wars movies have been that way. It was the same bullshit after they had Leia and Luke have this weird, like, oh, I like you, we're maybe going to be a thing. And then at the last second, they steamed over that storyline and laid down the brother and sister train.
It's so-
then in the
So you
third
think
one,
they're going to
it's-
do that again?
Yes.
It's-
Yes, I do.
It's so much
Why?
better for Rey to come from nothing and to be so powerful because
Yes.
then it's not a story of oh,
not
I
a
came from
story
powerful
of-
people,
of-
so I am powerful.
Because
and
it's
like,
about
yeah,
the
okay, great.
disenfranchised.
No,
Because it's not about the
'Cause
people
then-
in power. It's
can-
such a better story. It's
No,
an underdog
they can play
story.
it up that you could say that Anakin was the kickoff of the Empire and that the Resistance and all that shit. So if Rey comes back as a Skywalker, completes the circle and brings balance again, Skywalker put it off balance, you're going to need a Skywalker to bring it back to balance. And that's all I got to say.
Or you take the impetus off of the Skywalkers. But also, what's really important is that when Kylo told Rey that her parents were junk traders, he said, "You know that I'm right," and she did not.
He could be lying, Bethany.
He said, "You know that I'm right." He appealed to what she already knew, and she did not contradict him.
Well, if that's true,
she knew.
That's bad.
And also, Kylo and Rey have a connection.
Shut up, toxic
and
Star Wars
so he
fan.
can be emotional.
I appreciate.
Why? How do they have a connection? How do they have this connection?
Yeah, what's
They
it?
do.
Why? Because they're related.
No, because Snoke made the connection.
Snoke built a connection.
They literally wrote that into the movie.
But additionally, from the first movie,
Snoke made a connection.
From the first movie, they have had this connection.
No,
this is a genuine question though. I don't remember
Snoke
that.
didn't physically appear until the second.
No, but Snoke.
No, I swear I heard a line that Snoke made that connected them on purpose so that they would come together.
But there already has to be he made a gateway. There already has to be a connection between the two people. There's a reason they're connected.
I guess I need to rewatch the movies because I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, that's the reason that they could see each other.
Yeah, because Snoke was connecting them.
He opened the gateway. They were already connected. Why would he? Come on,
okay,
guys.
but I really don't think that the only way to have a connection.
It does sound like that.
Is by
why would he just connect them? What would be the why?
So that they would come together because he wants Rey to join the dark side.
Well, now he's dead because of that. So clearly that didn't work out. So he didn't really see the future like Sis was supposed to be.
He wasn't counting on Kylo to betray.
Well, he did see the future because remember he saw the future in a weird
Not very vague terms. Yeah,
he saw it in vague terms because when he's about to kill Snoke, he's saying, "Oh, I can feel that you're about to strike your enemy down," and he's so he can see the future. So it's just not that he's just seeing that he's about to smite his enemy, not that he's about to smite Snoke as his enemy, not as Rey.
But also,
does that make sense?
No, not at all.
If you watch the first movie, they totally have a connection. They have so much chemistry as characters from the first movie. You can already tell they're building them up to something.
Why do we care about Rey then? What's the point? Why is she not part of the... Why make her different than the Skywalkers then?
Why not?
Because the story is about the Skywalker family. It's the point of Star Wars.
The story is about the galaxy far, far away and the things that happen.
And George Lucas is still involved. Don't kid yourself and think that he just left this and walked away. He's still there.
So we know how Dan feels about this.
Can I just say, Captain Phasma was a waste of a character.
Okay,
they wasted.
We all know that.
Gwendolyn Christie. But I don't think that she's dead.
Yeah, there's a rule.
She's not dead.
Me and Adam, my brother, have talked about this. If you don't see them die, if you don't physically see them lose life, then there's not 100% guaranteed that they're dead.
That's why. Wait, have you guys watched Breaking Bad?
No,
I've seen half of it.
All right, well, never mind. Anyway,
you got to see him die.
I just think that they hyped it up. They hyped up the idea of Captain Phasma in Force Awakens, made her look like a total badass. I love Gwendolyn Christie, then did nothing with her. Yeah. Then it was all big news that she was going to be in the cast of Last Jedi. It's finally we're going to see her maybe without her mask or do some cool shit. She was in it for 10 minutes and then gonzo.
The other thing though is that there are so many stars that want to be in the Star Wars movies. Star Wars. That they're not going to be able to give everyone big roles. For example, James Corden is in The Last Jedi for a split second.
Yeah, no, but that's...
So is Daniel Craig. But you never see Daniel Craig's face. He was also wasted.
No. I'm saying if you're going to hype up... Because Daniel Craig, that was an Easter egg.
I don't remember the hype around Gwendolyn Christie.
You don't remember the hype around Captain Phasma?
I remember everyone
they were trying to
freaking
hype
out
her
about
up.
Captain Phasma.
And she had this cool suit. And I was like, who's this character going to be?
This is especially around the time where her character in Game of Thrones was very popular and doing big things. And so it was a big deal that this Game of Thrones actor is playing in Star Wars. And I mean, she's been in the promos for both, a significant part of the promos. I think if you have a speaking line in the promos, you belong. If you are in the trailers, there's a reason for it, and she didn't do shit.
Yeah, she added nothing. You could literally take her character out. And the story.
So I guess
but she provides a lot of the character building for Finn, because she helps construct him
guess.
in in an exterior way. She helps give his character context, why he is the way he is.
Yeah, but no, I agree. She did, but I'm saying that could have been any character though. It didn't have to be her.
Yeah.
It could have been just
and it could have been
sergeant.
It could have been done in a way that you used the character a little more.
That's why
fleshed it out.
Being
but
her
how many
didn't
characters are there in Star Wars right now?
There's a lot, but she has traveled with the cast, the main cast when they do promo stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's true because when I was
marketed as one of the more important people in the movie.
Oh no, for real! Because when I was working at Disney when this came out, we had all this merch with Captain Phasma on it. We had the action figures, we had these shirts with her on it, and it was explicitly her because it was a silvery stormtrooper thing. And
she's so badass.
We made a big deal of this Captain Phasma character. We were working for them. I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool, and she was nothing.
It would also be because she's female, and so they wanted to play up. Look, we have a female stormtrooper. Look at us, we're, progressive.
Well, that's exactly what, that's why people...
It would be almost like if, when the original, not the original, but the prequel trilogy was marketing, they, traveled around with, the 3 or 4 main people, and then Jar Jar Binks was there, too.
Well, but
and it
I
was
feel like they
the guy...
But, I feel like there were a lot of toys and merch for Jar Jar. Just because they would be, a singular, memorable
Well, there's a lot of toys and
character.
merch for Captain Phasma, too.
True.
That's what I'm saying.
It's more. It's less that there's
we're all saying.
We're all arguing the same point.
No, Bradley, you're right, and I agree with you, fucker.
But I wonder if it's less that they're the most significant, hinge of the entire story, and more that they're a memorable character, because the characters that we remember most are the main characters, but there are also these other throwaway characters.
Like
Yoda's
Jar Jar
in the
Binks.
original trilogy for 20 minutes.
Who is?
Or Yoda.
Yoda, yeah.
Actually, you
and
know
then
what?
Jar Jar, same, but in the
Right.
trilogy,
You know who
we don't
had a
speak
similar
about.
role to Captain Phasma?
Who?
Boba Fett. Barely in the movies, but he's such an icon of
I
Star
know.
Wars.
He's not even in the
and then he
freaking
dies.
movies.
He doesn't do
Or
hardly
Jabba the
any.
Hutt?
He doesn't do anything
He
at
doesn't
all
die. He
until
lives,
the 6th
actually.
movie.
He's coming back.
Right. Yeah, he lives because he
lives.
comes out of the Sarlacc pit. But
Jango Fett's dead. We saw that fucker's head come clean off.
yeah, but he didn't do anything in the first 2 movies, and then in Return of the
He has
Jedi
a
he
cult following.
flies around and shoots a couple people
Yeah,
and
he
then
has
dies.
some
And
pretty
falls in
devoted
the-
fans.
And that's
Like
exactly
crazy.
what Captain
Very
Phasma did.
devoted
Didn't
fan.
really do anything, had one big fight and died.
Yeah.
But here's the difference though. Boba Fett rose to fame after the movies came out in when the cult years showed
Right.
up.
Yeah.
Captain Phasma was marketed from the
but
company.
were you alive in the 70s when Boba
No one
Fett
talked about
came
Boba
out?
Fett, and you can't disagree.
Well,
they
you
pumped
don't-
up
you don't
Captain
know.
Phasma.
You don't
don't
fucking
know.
I'm talking
know.
about Captain Phasma.
Yeah,
We're
but
at
you
a-
don't. But you, no,
What, do you know?
no, I'm just saying.
Then how can
I'm
you
just
say I
saying
don't
that-
know? Kiss my ass,
Because
man.
you
weren't
don't.
there either.
You don't fucking know.
Do you know?
I'm
Then
just
how
saying-
can you say?
No.
I'm saying I'm not
No, I'm
making
not
a
saying
stand.
that.
They
Definitely
can't. Well, first of all,
was.
the
I'm
first
not saying
Star
that
Wars
I
movie
know,
didn't
I'm just
market
saying you
anything.
don't.
It didn't start off as a money-making scheme. It was just a
No,
movie.
but the first movie did so well that there's
There
no
were not
way
people. Oh my
they
god!
were not marketing the second
Okay.
one and third one.
I'm out.
You're out.
I've checked out of this conversation.
No,
I'm
get
done.
back here.
No, I'm finished.
Asshole.
I'm done. You have to finish this one.
No.
Let's sit here.
All right, I have another unpopular opinion. Actually, this may be popular depending on who you ask.
Oh.
I think Finn should have died.
I
I agree.
hate that he was saved, and that is
I
think,
realize
he
that
should
my
have died.
agreement comes from a different place.
Oh yeah, because you're like fuck that guy.
No, but from a theatrical
From a-
point of
right,
view,
from a
I also
storytelling
agree because
standpoint.
I feel like
He
it would
should have died.
It would have made more of an impact.
Let's be
would
honest.
have.
It would have turned him into a martyr. People
Well,
would have
yeah.
looked at
it
Finn,
would have-
regardless of his shitty storyline in the Last
Right.
Jedi. People would have looked at him and said that guy's the man because he saved the day.
Right,
Yeah.
because I would have such a different opinion of Finn if he died at the end.
Yeah,
of
I might
that
have liked him
movie.
a little more.
And it only capitalized on the controversial decision that they made to keep him alive. The fact that Rose saved him. It should not have happened. It should not have happened.
That whole character's a waste.
Well, they just wanted to. They wanted to give him a romantic prospect that
Yeah.
wasn't Rey.
Yeah.
I
So
get
people
that.
would
I just
stop shipping them because it's
I-
not going to
I-
happen.
I also
it's
don't.
not going to happen.
I also don't think there needs to be romance in it. So Dan,
Oh, what?
is there anything positive that you can take out of The Last Jedi?
I like the movie.
Okay.
I never said I didn't like the movie.
All right, moving on.
Just had a list of
Okay, no, I just wanted to know.
I wasn't complaining. I was complaining about Star Wars fans complaining about Star Wars.
You weren't. You could not get over the fact that Rey is nobody.
You had a serious problem.
Fit.
That hasn't been...
Your fit had nothing to do with Star Wars fans. Just to be clear,
it's in the movie.
Yes, it does. I'm disagreeing with Star Wars fans because it hasn't been.
We're
said
all
for sure.
fans of Star
I
Wars.
love that I'm a
hasn't
Star
been
Wars
guaranteed.
fan and Dan is not in this scenario. In his
I'm
head.
not making fun of the movie. All I'm saying is so far in the storyline, they haven't confirmed or denied Rey's family ties. This is all to be determined.
But technically, if it's happened in the movie, it's canon until such time as it's contradicted by.
Oh my God!
that's
Okay,
true.
no, it
Yeah.
hasn't been
It is
confirmed.
Innocent until
canon.
proven
Oh my
guilty.
God!
Yeah, that's
It is
no,
canon.
nothing has been confirmed until the movie. I don't care what you say. Nothing's been confirmed
Okay,
until
but
the movie
technically
comes
there
out.
are plenty of things in the original trilogy that were never confirmed.
I don't like the
We
original
never
trilogy. I think it's
saw-
garbage.
Okay, we never saw a birth certificate.
I've said that I said it
Luke
many
and
times.
Leia.
The original Star Wars movie is awful.
Well, you've said A New Hope is awful. I've never heard you say the entire trilogy is garbage.
thought you liked Empire Strikes Back.
I'm sorry. Then I got to get really technical with him. The first Star Wars movie is garbage.
Wow. I'm
How's that, Jake?
Well, here's the deal. Those are two very different statements. You asshole.
Like when you're being attacked by three people, you're speaking perfectly. Is that what you're saying?
I have been attacked by three different people,
yes, yeah.
and
Yeah, and
just saying.
All right, so we're not really talking about Star Wars here.
Okay.
Dan, it does make a
all right,
difference.
all right.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's just stop talking for a second and just
Pause.
chill.
I'm fine. Dan, I'm just
Let's bring
saying
it back.
it does make a difference. One movie versus the trilogy. I
acknowledged my mistake.
okay. All right. You want to hug it out?
No, don't touch me. None of you touch me. All of you can go to hell. Don't touch me. Get away.
Dan, you're loved. You're loved, Dan.
I'm not loved, man. Take that shit out, Kademi. I'll deal with that.
So let's come back to the original question. Do
I'm
we
not gonna
think
talk
that the
anymore,
new
I'm done.
trilogy is helping or hurting the franchise?
I have no opinion. I'm out.
He looks like Daredevil.
I'm done talking
Okay.
Star Wars. I'm out.
Looks like Daredevil. We'll post that on Instagram for you.
Holy shit. Come on, Dan.
all right.
Come on.
So back to the original question.
Yeah.
Bradley,
Right.
do you think that the new trilogy has helped or hurt the franchise?
I think it has helped overall. I like the new movies.
That's a keeper.
I like a lot of the characters. I like the stories. Yeah. And I feel like I touched on just about it. Most of my my thoughts and feelings.
What about you,
But
Jake?
overall,
I think it helps. I'm so like I can get critical when I want to, but overall I have loved pretty much all the Star Wars movies. I wasn't a huge fan of Rogue One, but that's another
me
conversation. But I think that financially it has absolutely helped the franchise.
Well, yeah.
But I just think I think it's continuing to open a new world and a new universe to. It is appealing to new Star Wars fans because I think that's ultimately the goal of the revamp. It's trying to appeal to a younger audience. It's trying to hit the reset button without hitting the reset button.
Yeah.
And I think it's doing a fine job. One thing I wanted to say too is the reason why The Last Jedi I think is so controversial because of the things we've mentioned with the unfinished character development between Rose and Finn and there's so much ambiguity in the episode. It's exactly what you're talking about with Keegan. The middle episode, the middle movie of a trilogy is always the hardest because you're getting caught. You're starting in the middle and you're ending in the middle. Mm-hmm. So there's so much that's going to be left unresolved. And so I think what The Last Jedi did a great job at is get people excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then regardless if they're pissed off about what has happened or not, there is a lot of intrigue for episode 9. How they're going to finish it. And then what they're going to do after. Are they going to create another trilogy down the road later? Or are they
are going to create another trilogy. Ryan Johnson's getting his own And there's some other directors that have been confirmed as getting their own trilogies.
Is that going to be?
I think Jon Favreau is doing a series, a TV series.
That's coming out. I saw like an image.
Favreau, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, like a TV show on what channel?
I don't know.
It's going to be on the Disney streaming service that's coming out.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
like their Netflix.
Yeah, their Netflix streaming service.
That is tactical. Tactical.
Yeah.
I almost said tactful.
Tactful.
That's tactful.
It's tactical.
Yes, exactly.
Full of tact.
But it's brilliant because even if I wasn't going to subscribe to the Disney streaming service, I definitely would for Star Wars.
It's very brilliant. They're going to
put all their Marvel and their Star Wars all together.
They're making a bunch of Marvel shows too, like new ones, I think.
It's all going to be on their streaming service.
Very few of the Marvel shows have been actually good, but that's a whole other episode.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's another good
But
episode.
Dan, do you think it's helped or hurt?
Helped. That's all I'm going to say.
Dan's like one of those football players after a game that doesn't want to get fined, but just says, "I don't know."
No, this is.
I don't know.
This is like the third or fourth time in my life that I've gotten in a heated Star Wars debate. This has been mild compared to the other debates, and they never end well.
Who have you been on the attack or the defend for the other ones?
What
were you on this one? Defend for sure, right?
I felt attacked.
All right.
I don't feel that.
Well, then, defend. If you felt attacked, you'd be defend.
Okay, then
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the other ones?
The same thing, but that's because those were all idiots, all of them.
Why are you pointing at me?
I'm using you the reference point.
Right. Oh,
all of the other idiots.
It's easy to think of an idiot when you're looking at one.
I don't know. We were arguing about whether the original prequel trilogy was helpful. Basically, to put it bluntly, it was just like, was Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith, were those helpful? Were they good or bad? It was a whole big.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a whole
That's
thing.
great content.
Big argument.
Coming up with so many good episode ideas, guys.
No, see, I may not be able to do that one. I get real angry about that one.
All right.
That one's because that series of Star Wars is like my series.
That's like
Star Wars.
almost as dangerous as talking about politics.
No, I would argue I get more fired up over Star Wars bullshit than I would ever get about politics.
I would 100% get
Really?
more
Oh yeah, I would kill someone over some
politics.
Star Wars shit. Like I almost chopped your head off. So no, I really didn't.
Can we hug it out now?
Okay, that's fine. Let's hug it out.
Man, I don't have my
Are you
phone.
taking a picture?
Hold on.
Just always for the marketing.
Just pause for the photo op.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, this is very.
Oh, my neck hurts.
Yeah, this is weird. Okay.
You get it?
I got so many.
Good.
I need to take one. But so ultimately though, in all seriousness, I think all Star Wars is fine. I think it's just entertainment. I think it all just adds to the story, whether you agree with the decisions or not. Back to the art thing, it all comes down to what George Lucas and his team and the directing team decides to do. So hey, if he puts it in there, he wants it in there for a reason. So I can't really be too upset about it because that's how he wants it.
Right,
so.
that's the story he wants to tell.
So it's
Bethany,
his story.
I forget. Did you give your? Yeah, you kind of did at the beginning.
I gave my answer at the beginning. Yeah, but I will also say that The Last Jedi was like one of my favorite movies of last year. Just because, like, also maybe an unpopular opinion, depending on who you ask. I love Kylo Ren and I love his character arc. I think it's super interesting what they're doing, just because, like I said earlier, it hasn't really been done before. But I also just love that it brings like an element of like sympathy and like depth to the characters and to the story in the movies. Like there was a whole period after the movie came out where I could not talk to anybody who was going to be remotely negative about the movie, because I was like, I am so emotionally invested in this that if you say anything negative, I will feel personally like victimized.
You'll feel like Dan.
Yeah.
You feel exactly how Dan feels right now.
The way Dan feels all the time.
Basically.
That's how I would feel.
I always have the unpopular opinions. It's just
I will say, the greatest moment in that movie for me was when. Oh, that's one thing I didn't. Sorry. Quick sidebar. One character I hated in the movie was the woman with the purple hair, played by that one woman who's well known.
Laura Dern.
Yeah, Laura Dern. Laura Dern. She's the one that
I
flew the
didn't
ship
like
in
her
the-
after
Yeah.
the first viewing, but I loved her after the second, third, fourth ...
really?
viewings.
Okay.
Yes, she gets better with reviewings.
Oh, that's
the
good.
first time I was sympathetic to Poe, and so I automatically hated her, and then the second time I was like, no, wait, like I get it now. So I would give it another
But
watch.
that moment when she flew the ship through, that was
so
fucking
cool.
incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
it was
so
like,
cool.
That is art right
literally
there.
took my
that
breath
was,
away.
I know, it was
When
shocking.
you're just like in the cinema
and it's just
silent.
No, that was incredible.
Yeah.
Did you end up seeing First Man?
No.
Oh,
we were
I
on
did.
this Friday
I need to see it.
instead.
I saw,
I need
okay.
to see it.
Okay.
Damien Chazelle is my spirit
Then I
animal.
won't say anything about it. But I will say that moment was one of the most powerful moments in viewing, like sitting in a theater that I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Because the entire, I mean, it was basically like a 30-second clip of what the entire movie of A Quiet Place was, but it was basically no one wanted to fucking breathe.
Yeah.
No one wanted. I mean, if you got caught crinkling your candy during that moment,
really?
you're kicked out.
You're getting ugly
stared
look.
at.
Quick
You get looks.
sidebar.
Yeah.
When I went to see A Quiet Place, there was somebody sitting behind me who talked during all of the quiet moments.
No.
You know, like straight up was like, "No, girl, don't go there. Be quiet." And you just wanted to be like,
That's so fucking
"Oh my gosh,
annoying.
this is the most tense of the most tense moment of the movie. It's completely silent, and you're talking like."
I need to see that movie again.
Anyway,
in an attempt not to
coming back.
Oh yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
great moments from the movie. I love that moment. I also love the entire fight scene with Kylo and Rey where they're killing the
that was so
Red
cool.
Guards or
Yeah.
whatever they're called. I know they have a name, I just can't think of it. And then that moment afterwards when he's asking her to join him and like just the like tension in that moment of like, is she going to, is she not going to, and then the question of like, what would I do?
Yeah.
Like if
join.
somebody was offering me
Totally
the entire
join.
galaxy, what would I do?
Join.
Yeah.
So just like
Freaking
I just
man.
loved
Hell yeah.
that moment,
I'd be like, okay.
like the lighting and
If you
the
exist.
the everything together, but then also how it culminated in this like huge moment where Rey had that moment like Luke did of which side am I going to choose?
Yeah.
And the fact that it took her so long and that she was so torn up about it, I think goes back to that kind of bridging more towards the gray that this trilogy is doing. So I just that was one of like the pinnacle moments for me in the movie.
I also really appreciate their move towards fight choreography. The fighting in the new trilogy is so fucking dope.
Yeah.
And when you
So
compare
good.
it to the original trilogy and even
It
the
doesn't
prequel
even
trilogy,
compare.
I mean this is next level. I mean you see videos of Daisy Ridley training. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Like it gives me chills just thinking about it. Like
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, like us on Facebook,
Leave a
Instagram,
review.
Twitter. Leave comments about your own thoughts about the new Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
You dare to
Did
Yeah.
did Dan did Dan deserve to feel like he did, or
Yeah.
do you sympathize with him?
If
Empathize?
after leaving a comment
I should bring
you
my
get
brother on.
blocked, no, it was Dan.
Any comments that disagree with me are blocked on it.
Oh, hey, we did want to make a quick announcement to any business owners out there, any small business owners where you're trying to get your name across. We would love to partner up with you. We'd love to help spread the word, get your brand, get your image, get your creativity out there. So if you've got something,
Help us, help you, help us.
Yeah, let's help each other. If you need some help. Just getting the word out to more people than you already do, let us know at quicksidebar@gmail.com. Just send us an email. We'd love to get in touch. Yeah, we'd love to help people. We're a small company, not even a company. We're just a small.
We're a company.
We're a small brand trying to do some.
There's 3 guys in a basement.
Yeah, we're just 3 guys in a basement with also a girl guest and then another guy guest who's sleeping. But we're just having fun and we'd love to help you out. So let us know.
Yeah, and like and share with your friends. I just want to say share. Share with your friends.
Sharing is caring.
So I did want to say back to A Quiet Place. I think I've shared this story before, but I don't think I've shared it with you, Bethany. There's at the very end when Emily Blunt does that super dope thing to that one thing, and then it goes. I'm trying to be vague so it doesn't spoil the movie.
She kills the monster.
Okay. Yeah, when she kills the monster, it was fucking silent, radio silent, because everyone was just like so crazed by it, and then someone in the front row goes, "Fuck yeah!" And it was incredible. And like you couldn't even be mad at it. You couldn't even be mad at the guy for being loud because it was just so perfect. And it was like everyone could just take this cathartic like breath of fresh air. Like, it's over. That was so great. So
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
fuck yeah.